Hello friends, today we will see the female reproductive system. So as you all know, that is the female reproductive system is located in the pelvic region of the female, and the female reproductive system is more complex than the male reproductive system because it is not only involved in the formation of gametes but also it is involved in fertilization, development of the fetus. Fetus is nothing but the young ones, as well as nourishing the young ones. So here this male reproductive system, when you compare with the female reproductive system, your female reproductive system is more complex. Then the female reproductive system consists of different parts, or you can say female reproductive system consists of pair of ovaries, then a pair of oviduct, then uterus, cervix, vagina and external genitalia. Okay, and these all parts are located in the lower part of the body, and these parts along with the mammary glands, they are integrated structurally as well as functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and child care. Okay, then we will see the parts of the female reproductive system one by one. First of all, we will go to the ovaries. So here ovaries are nothing but there are two ovaries, and these are the primary female sex organs, and they are going to produce a female gamete, that is nothing but the ovum. These ovaries, along with the production of ovum, they are also going to produce several steroid hormones, or we can also call them as ovarian hormones. Then where are your ovaries located? Your ovaries are located in the lower abdomen, and each ovary is about 2 to 4 cm in length and 2 cm in width. Then each ovary will be collected to the pelvic wall as well as uterus with the help of ligaments. Then each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which is going to enclose a cavity or a space, and that is called as ovarian stroma. And this ovarian stroma again can be divided into two zones, that is peripheral cortex and the inner medulla. Okay, this is all about in brief regarding the ovaries. And here if you want to see the ovaries, you can see here the diagram. So in the diagram you can see the two red color structures, oval shaped structures which are located on either side of the uterus are nothing but your ovaries, which are the female reproductive structures. Then coming to next one is regarding the oviduct. Oviduct is nothing but, you can also call it as fallopian tube. So this oviduct or the fallopian tube, uterus and vagina, these together will form the female secondary or accessory ducts. Okay, then coming to regarding the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is nothing but it is a tube like structure which is about 10 to 12 centimeter in length, and it is going to extend from the peripheral part of each ovary to the uterus, and you can say it is a ciliated tube. It is a ciliated tube which will have number of cilia on the inner surface. So the part of the fallopian tube close to the ovary is funnel shaped, and it is called as infundibulum. And then you can see here in the diagram regarding the fallopian tube. So here in the diagram you can see that is beside the ovary you can see a funnel shaped structure which is there, and that funnel shaped structure of the fallopian tube or the oviduct is called as infundibulum. Then this infundibulum, which is a broad funnel shaped structure, will have number of finger like projections, and those finger like projections are called as fimbriae. Okay, then you may ask me, what is the function of fimbriae? This fimbriae which are finger-like structures, which will help in collection of ovum after ovulation. That is, from the ovary, whenever the egg is released, that egg will be collected with the help of this finger-like projection, that is fimbriae. Then this infundibulum, again if you go up or above, this infundibulum will lead to a wider part of the oviduct. It will lead to a wider part of the oviduct, and that is called as ampulla. Then if you again go above, you can see that the last part of the fallopian tube, which is narrow, which has got, you can say it has got narrow lumen, that is called as isthmus. And this isthmus will go and join the uterus. So together you can say that is infundibulum, ampulla and isthmus. These are the different parts of the fallopian tube or oviduct. So this is all regarding the oviduct or the fallopian tube. The next comes the uterus. So here in the diagram I am showing you, that is the uterus. You can see here the labeling they have given. The beside the two ovaries, the middle part what you are seeing is a uterus which is single, and this uterus is also called as womb. Okay, and coming to the shape of the uterus, shape of the uterus is inverted pear shape. Pear fruit you might have seen. When you invert that fruit upside down, you can see it looks like the uterus. This uterus, it is usually supported by ligaments and it is attached to the pelvic wall. Then your uterus can be divided into three parts. First one is uterine fundus, then second one is uterine cavity, inner cavity, and then coming to next one is the cervix. The uterus is going to open into vagina. The uterus will open into the vagina through a narrow structure known as cervix. And then the cavity of this cervix is called as cervical canal. And this cervical canal, along with the vagina, it will form the birth canal. Or you can say, that is why we call it as birth, because during normal delivery, the baby comes out through the cervical canal first and then through the vagina. Okay, that is the route for the birth of the baby during normal delivery. Okay, then the wall of the uterus. The wall of the uterus is made up of three layers or three tissues, namely your outer perimetrium, middle myometrium and inner endometrium. Right. So first of all, that is outer thin membranous layer known as perimetrium, which is protective in function. Then the middle layer, which is a thick layer of smooth muscles known as myometrium, whereas inner layer, that is glandular layer, is known as endometrium. Okay. Then this endometrium, which is the innermost part of the uterus, is going to undergo cyclic changes. It will undergo cyclic changes during menstrual cycle. Okay. Then myometrium, the function of myometrium is this myometrium will exhibit strong contractions, especially during the delivery of the baby. Okay. So this is all regarding the uterus. Then coming to next one is the vagina. So the lower part you are seeing in the diagram, that is the vagina. So vagina, it is also called as a copulation chamber, which is about measuring 7.5 centimeter in length. During sexual intercourse, when the couples have sex, okay, the vagina will receive the penis, that is the male reproductive structure, and then the semen is deposited in the vagina. And you can say this vagina will serve as a passage for spermatozoa, that is sperms, as well as menstrual fluid. During sex, it is a place where this is a place or the route through which the sperms will move, and during menstrual cycle, it is a place through which the blood will flow out. And you can also say that this vagina is going to act like a birth canal, especially during parturition, that is during delivery. Okay, so this is all regarding the vagina. Then coming to next is the external genitalia, or you can also call it as vulva. So I will show you this diagram so that you can understand. So external genitalia, or it is also called as vulva. Okay. So this external genitalia or the vulva, it is going to include the following parts. The first one is mons pubis, then labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. In the diagram they have given you, they have shown you, you can see it carefully. In the diagram they have shown you the different parts. Okay, so here first one will begin with mons pubis. Mons pubis is nothing but it is a cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hairs. Then comes next is labia majora. Labia majora is nothing but it is a fleshy fold of tissue which is going to extend down from the mons pubis and surrounds the vaginal opening. Okay, then next comes the labia minora. Labia minora is nothing but these are the paired folds of tissue under the labia majora. Then coming to next one is hymen. So the opening of the vagina is often covered partially by a membrane called as hymen. This hymen is often torn or broken during the first coitus, that is during the first intercourse or sex. However, this hymen it may be torn by sudden fall or sometime by the insertion of vaginal tampon, that is sex toys, or it may be torn during the participation in sports like horseback riding, cycling, etc. Okay, this is all regarding the hymen. And then coming to the next is the clitoris. So clitoris is nothing but it is a tiny finger like structure which is going to lie at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral openings. So totally that is external genitalia. First you will have mons pubis, then you will have labia majora, inner to the labia majora, inside the labia majora you will have labia minora. Then your vagina will be covered by hymen. Then you will have at the top you will have the clitoris. This is all regarding the external genitalia. Then we will move on to the next part, that is the mammary glands. So mammary glands are nothing but these are the paired modified sweat glands that produce, secrete as well as eject milk. And as you all know, they are the characteristics of all female mammals. Then mammary glands, what does they consist of? Mammary glands consist of here, that is glandular tissue and a variable amount of fat. Then the glandular tissue of each breast is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes. So these mammary lobes, they contain cluster of cells called as alveoli. Then the cells of alveoli, what do they do? The cells of alveoli will secrete milk and is stored in the lumen of alveoli. That is the space inside the alveoli is called as lumen, and in that your milk will be stored. Then your alveoli will open into mammary tubules. Then these mammary tubules of each lobe join together to form mammary duct. Then several mammary ducts will join together to form wider mammary ampulla. Then mammary ampulla connected to lactiferous ducts through which the milk is sucked out. So you can say first one comes in the mammary glands made up of mammary lobes, which will contain alveoli. Alveoli will join together to form mammary tubules. Mammary tubules will join together to form mammary duct, and the mammary duct will join to form mammary ampulla. and that will be connected to the lactiferous duct, and through which the milk will be sucked out. Then this ejection of milk, simply the milk does not ooze out every time. So the ejection of the milk by the female will be stimulated by oxytocin, which is released from the posterior pituitary in response to sucking of the milk by the baby. Then you might have also noticed that is surrounding the nipple of the breast is a circular disc-like rough pigmented skin, and that is called as areola. Okay. So before moving to next part of this chapter, let me tell you that in this part, two diagrams are very, very important. The first one is about the female reproductive system, which may be asked for 5 marks question. These are very, very important. For this 5 marks questions, you need to draw a neat label diagram with the correct labelings. And how many labelings you should do then? That is correct, minimum 10 labelings should be there, correct one. Okay, and that is going to carry 5 marks. Okay, because each labeling will carry half marks. So totally 10 labelings, they will fetch 5 marks. So very, very important. Practice this. So again, this comes, the next diagram is the diagram of mammary gland. So this diagram of mammary gland is also important for 3 or sometimes 5 marks question. So here also you need to go for, if they ask you for 3 marks, go for 6 labelings. If they will ask you for 5 marks, go for 10 labeling, correct labelings. So this is all regarding the female reproductive system. The next one, we will move on to next part, that is gametogenesis. Okay, then what do you mean by gametogenesis? So here the name itself indicates it's a process of formation of gametes within the primary sex organs. It may be either the testes or the ovaries. Okay, so that is called as gametogenesis. So gametogenesis, once again I'll repeat, it is a process of formation of gametes within the primary sex organs. That may be either the testes or the ovaries. Then this gametogenesis, there are usually 2 types of gametogenesis, namely spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Then what do you mean by spermatogenesis? First we will move on to spermatogenesis. Okay, so spermatogenesis, it is the process of, the definition of spermatogenesis, it is the process of formation of functional sperms, or spermatozoa also you can call. It is a process of formation of functional sperms from the immature male germ cells, that is spermatogonia is called as spermatogenesis. So simply, in simple sense, you can say the process of formation of sperms from the germ cells in the testes is called as spermatogenesis. Once again I will repeat, the process of formation of sperms from the germ cells in the testes is called as spermatogenesis. Then you may ask me, when does this spermatogenesis occur? In the lifespan. So in the lifetime, this spermatogenesis usually occurs after puberty. Once you attain the maturity, especially in the males, once you attain the maturity, this spermatogenesis can be seen. Then you may ask me another question, that is, where does this spermatogenesis exactly occur in the male body? So usually this spermatogenesis will take place in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. In the last class I have told you regarding the seminiferous tubules. So seminiferous tubules are present inside the testis. So here, regarding the process of spermatogenesis, here what happens is, here each seminiferous tubule will be lined by germinal epithelium, which will be made up of 2 types of cells. Okay, that is primordial germ cells and Sertoli cells. So here listen once again, that is each seminiferous tubule will be lined by germinal epithelium, which will be made up of two types of cells, that is namely primordial germ cells and Sertoli cells. So here that is each spermatogonia or primordial germ cells, you can also call them as spermatogonia or singular spermatogonium, is diploid, which will contain 46 number of chromosomes. These spermatogonia or the spermatogonium are present on the inner wall of the seminiferous tubules. Okay, these cells now, first of all, what they will do is they will multiply by mitotic division to increase in number. Okay, once they multiply, what happens is that is these spermatogonia, once they multiply, some of the spermatogonia will grow for a brief period of time, and they are now called as primary spermatocytes. Remember, spermatogonia or the spermatogonium after mitotic division will increase in number, but remember, all of them will not grow. Only a few of them will grow and they will be called as primary spermatocytes. Now these primary spermatocytes will undergo meiosis 1 to form two equal haploid cells. Okay, and those are called as secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes, and they are usually haploid because meiosis 1 has occurred, and meiosis 1 is nothing but the reductional cell division. Remember that. Okay, now secondary meiocytes are ready. Spermatocytes are ready. Now each secondary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis 2 to form two equal haploid spermatids. Now each primary spermatocyte will produce 4 spermatids. Okay, now these spermatids which are formed as a result of meiosis 1 and 2, do you think they are the functional sperms? No, because these are immature, non-motile, non-functional. So what we need to do? What they need to undergo? They need to undergo another process which is known as spermiogenesis. What do you mean by spermiogenesis then? Spermiogenesis, they may ask you for one more question. It is a process of transformation of non-motile, inactive, non-functional spermatids into motile, active, functional sperms. Once again I will repeat, that is they need to undergo spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis is, in simple terms, you can say here spermatids will get transformed into spermatozoa or sperms, or you can say it is a process of transformation of non-motile, inactive, non-functional spermatids into motile, active, functional sperms, or you can also call them as spermatozoa. And once spermiogenesis is over, the sperms, what they do is they embed their head in the Sertoli cells, and finally they are released from the seminiferous tubule, and that process is called as spermiation. They may ask you for one more question. What do you mean by spermiogenesis? What do you mean by spermiation? Okay, so this is the gametogenesis in brief, that is especially spermatogenesis. Then next is, here you can see the diagrammatic representation. So I told you, that is this is a sectional view of seminiferous tubule. So seminiferous tubule made up of two types of cells. At the base you can see spermatogonia or the spermatogonia or spermatogonium. These are diploid cells. Now they will multiply and give rise to primary spermatocytes. You can see that. Then these primary spermatocytes will undergo meiotic 1 and meiotic 2 division and give rise to secondary spermatocytes. Then this secondary spermatocytes will give rise to spermatids. This blue color you can see. And these spermatids have attached themselves to cells, those are known as Sertoli cells. Okay, this blue color head of the your spermatid is attached to a special cell known as Sertoli cells, which will provide nutrition. And then after deriving nutrition, your sperms will be released. That is called as spermiation. Okay, then this side, beside this diagram, you can also see here the schematic representation of spermatogenesis, which may be asked for 3 marks question. Give the diagrammatic representation of spermatogenesis. So here they have given here, see, systematically they have mentioned one by one regarding the process of, or the steps of spermatogenesis. So here you can say about the hormonal control of spermatogenesis. How there is hormonal control during spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis, as you all know, it starts usually at the age after the puberty. Then what happens is this after it is initiated at puberty, your hypothalamus, okay, it is going to secrete GnRH, that is gonadotrophin releasing hormone. And this GnRH, which is secreted by the hypothalamus, will stimulate anterior pituitary to secrete 2 gonadotrophins, that is LH and FSH. First of all, that is your hypothalamus will secrete growth, that is gonadotrophin releasing hormone. This gonadotrophin releasing hormone will stimulate your anterior pituitary to secrete 2 hormones, that is luteinizing hormone, that is LH, and FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone. So what is the work of this LH or FSH? So this LH, that is luteinizing hormone, will act on the Leydig cells. I've already told you where do you find Leydig cells. They may ask you the question, that is Leydig cells are present in between the seminiferous tubule. That is in between the 2 seminiferous tubule you are going to find a space, and that is called as interstitial space. And in that interstitial space you are going to find these Leydig cells. So here this LH, that is luteinizing hormone, will act on these Leydig cells and stimulate the synthesis of androgens. Androgens are nothing but these are the testosterones. Then these androgens, in turn, they are going to stimulate spermatogenesis, that is the process of formation of sperms. Okay, then next, what is the work of FSH then? So this FSH usually is going to act on the Sertoli cells and stimulate spermatogenesis in other ways. Okay, so this is how, that is the hormonal regulation of spermatogenesis takes place. Okay, so now once the hormonal regulation of spermatogenesis is over, finally sperms are produced. Now it's time to see the structure of sperms. So sperm, as you know, it is a microscopic structure composed mainly of head, neck, middle piece and tail. Okay, so here let me show you the diagram of the sperm. So here the sperm diagram is given. This sperm diagram, here you can see, usually it is made up of different parts, that is they have labeled here head, middle piece and tail. Then the plasma membrane is going to envelop the whole body of the sperm. Then the sperm, first of all we will see about the head, then next part. Okay, first of all the head. The sperm head will contain an elongated haploid nucleus. Then the anterior part, the top part of the top portion of the sperm will be covered by a cap-like structure, and that is called as acrosome. Then you may ask me the question, what this acrosome will consist of? This acrosome is filled with enzymes that help in fertilization of ovum. Okay, then coming to next part is regarding the neck. Neck is nothing but it is a short constricted region present between the head and the middle piece. Okay, then middle piece is going to possess, this middle piece is going to possess number of mitochondria, and these mitochondria will provide energy for the movement of tail, which will help in sperm motility, which is necessary for fertilization. Okay, then an human male especially is going to ejaculate about 200 to 300 million sperms during each coitus. Coitus means during sex, having sex. Okay, so that is 200 to 300 million sperms will be released during the ejaculation. Then 60% of which will have normal shape and size, and 40% of them, among the 60%, 40% of them will have vigorous motility. They can move very fast. Okay, then here sperms, as you all know, they will be produced inside the seminiferous tubule, and then once they are produced in the seminiferous tubule, they have to come out through the accessory ducts, and on their way, while coming out, the fluids from the seminal vesicle, prostate glands will be added, and collectively the sperms along with the secretion will form the semen. And then regarding the functions of the male accessory ducts and the glands, they are all maintained by the testicular hormone, that is nothing but the androgens. Okay, right. Then in the next class we will see the next part of this chapter, that is regarding the oogenesis. Thank you.